On August 23, 2022, officials entered a small palm-thatched hut deep inside the Amazon and found the last known survivor of an entire people lying motionless in a hammock. The forest is silent. Dense trees rise like walls. Narrow trails disappear into darkness beneath a canopy stretching 30 meters overhead. A team moves carefully through the undergrowth, following footprints they have monitored for decades. What they are about to find marks the end of a human story thousands of years old. By the end of this video, you will know who this man was, why he spent 26 years completely alone, and what secrets disappeared forever when he took his final breath. This discovery matters because it represents one of the rare moments in history when the extinction of an entire culture can be traced to a single human life. By the end of this video, you will know exactly who the man of the hole was, what happened to the tribe he outlived, and what knowledge vanished forever with his death. The forest that hides entire worlds, in western Brazil near the border with Bolivia, stretches one of the largest forests on Earth. The Amazon covers approximately 6.7 million square kilometers. Its rivers carry nearly 20% of the world's fresh water flowing into oceans. Beneath its canopy live hundreds of indigenous groups, including dozens that remain isolated from modern society. Many have avoided outside contact for generations. Some have avoided it for centuries. And one of them would become the center of a mystery unlike any other. The frontier of violence throughout the 1970s and 1980s, ranchers, miners, and land grabbers pushed deeper into the Brazilian Amazon. Forests were cleared, roads appeared, settlements expanded. For isolated indigenous communities, the consequences were often catastrophic. Diseases spread, territories vanished, violence followed. Entire groups disappeared before most of the world even knew they existed. One small tribe living in the state of Rondônia became trapped in that expansion, and almost no one realized what was happening. The first reports, by the mid-1990s, Brazil's Indigenous Affairs Agency, STROOONG, began investigating reports of a lone indigenous survivor living inside a protected forest area. Officials discovered abandoned villages, burned structures, signs of attacks. Evidence suggested that multiple members of a small tribe had been killed over several years. Yet one person remained. One. And he clearly wanted nothing to do with the outside world. What STROOONG found next would define the rest of his life. The man nobody could speak to, the survivor, never revealed his name. No one ever learned the name of his people. No one successfully recorded his language. No one documented his myths, history, songs, or stories. Communication proved impossible. Whenever outsiders approached, he disappeared into the forest. Sometimes he fired arrows, sometimes he simply vanished. STROOONG eventually abandoned attempts at direct contact and adopted a different strategy. Protect the territory. Observe from a distance. Leave him alone. For the next 26 years, they watched one of the most isolated human beings on Earth. But the mystery only deepened. The story most people believe. Many people assume the man chose isolation because he feared modern society. It sounds reasonable. A lone survivor hiding from outsiders. A final guardian protecting ancient traditions. A deliberate rejection of the modern world. But the evidence suggests something much darker. STROOONG investigators found signs that his isolation was not originally a choice. It was a consequence. Reports collected during the 1990s indicated that ranchers and armed groups may have attacked indigenous communities throughout the region. Researchers believe members of his tribe were gradually killed or displaced. Village after village disappeared. Family after family vanished. By the time authorities identified him, he may already have been the last survivor. The image of a man choosing solitude obscures a harsher reality. He may have been living inside the aftermath of a human catastrophe. And one detail made the mystery even stranger. What if the dozens of deep holes he dug throughout the forest were never traps at all but part of a cultural practice? No living person will ever understand. The answer would remain hidden. Throughout his territory, investigators discovered numerous rectangular pits. Some measured nearly 2 meters deep. Others appeared inside abandoned huts. The purpose remains unknown. Researchers proposed multiple explanations. Storage pits, animal traps, defensive structures, ritual spaces. None of the theories could be confirmed, because there was only one person alive who knew the answer, and he never told anyone. The mystery became so central to his identity that officials began referring to him as the man of the hole. Yet the holes were only the beginning. From approximately 1996 until 2022, the man survived entirely by himself. 26 years. More than 9,400 days, alone. Fune occasionally documented signs of his presence using remote observation. He cultivated crops, harvested fruits, built shelters, hunted animals, maintained a territory covering thousands of hectares. Photographs released in 2018 showed a healthy, physically capable individual despite decades of isolation. This was not a person barely surviving. This was someone actively preserving a way of life after everyone else who shared it was gone. Imagine carrying an entire language alone, an entire history, an entire culture. Every story remembered by only one mind. And then imagine what happens when that mind disappears. The answer, when it came, was worse than anyone feared. The final loss on August 23, 2022, Ifune officials found him dead inside his hut. There were no obvious signs of violence, no evidence of struggle. Authorities estimated he was approximately 60 years old. He appeared to have died of natural causes. The death of one person is not usually a historical event. This was different, because when he died, an entire cultural archive died with him. A language vanished. Oral histories vanished. Knowledge of ancestors vanished. Religious beliefs vanished. Name is vanished. Generations of accumulated memory vanished. Imagine a library containing thousands of books. Now imagine every page exists only inside a single human brain. Then imagine that library disappearing forever. That is what happened. Researchers can study artifacts. They can analyze tools. They can map settlements. But they can never recover the stories he never shared. And that realization reaches beyond the Amazon. Every culture on Earth exists because knowledge survives from one generation to the next. Parents teach children. Elders teach communities. Stories cross centuries. Civilizations depend on memory. The man of the whole carried that chain alone for decades. When he died, the chain broke. And once broken, some parts can never be rebuilt. Scientists and indigenous protection officials documented the final years of the last known survivor of an isolated Amazonian tribe, but countless details about his people disappeared forever when he died in 2022. Yet one question remains. What were the stories, beliefs, and memories he carried for 26 years that no outsider ever heard? Share your theory in the comments. Click the next video on your screen for another discovery that will leave you questioning everything.